Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. We have Super EZA Fizz Kid Buu finally dropped for Golden Week and we're going to try him out. I've been holding off on doing this video the entire day. As you can see, he has every link aside from Brutal Beatdown, Fierce Battle and the Wall Standing Tool, all at level 10. These are all hovering at level 9. The links just haven't ticked over. So this isn't going to be a level 10 links video, even though it's not going to make that much of a difference once he gets there, but what can you do? I've tried. We do have him at 89%. This is literally his dupe system before I found out what his Super EZA details were. This was done years ago. I mean, he has built-in crit now. It's kind of wasted, but what can you do? What can you do? And I don't want to use the stones to change it either. I'll be completely real. So this is the best link up we got going right now. We don't currently have big bad bosses active, which to be fair, a lot of Buu units don't have aside from Kid Buu or until they transform. So for example, like LR Buuhan won't get it until he literally transforms from Buu tanks into Buuhan. So we are missing a big attack and defense buff right now. We do start with a 405k attack stat, 195k defense. He does get 250% attack and defense on super, by the way, don't forget. So that's going to take a huge scale up, which I'm really intrigued to see what kind of numbers he's putting out. And don't forget, he's supporting everyone else as well. So we're starting off with a 13 mil attack stat. Nah, 13 mil without big bad bosses. 13 mil when he's a crazy good support is wild. Doing that kind of damage on a unit that is going to be a slot 3 unit kind of permanently with damage reduction, yeah, it's not ridiculous amounts and he has to be hit to get it, but damage reduction and, as I said, an insane support, that is stupidly good. Like, that is actually like valuable damage that Kid Buu's going to be doing while being that good of a support. And remember, that's without any SA effect. Super EZAs do not touch SA effects. All he does on SA effect is cause immense damage to the enemy and lower defense by 40%. That is literally it. Fair play, Dokkan. Do you know what? The EZAs for the celebration have been top notch. The Super EZA for Kid Buu is top notch. The Dokkan Fest, top notch. Take a bow. Take a bow. You honestly deserve it. He does start the turn with attack and defense plus 150, has a chance of performing a crit crit plus 20% and damage reduction by 20% just flat out again, which is why I kind of wish the old dupe path system choices I made were a little bit different, but what can you do at the end of the day? As I said, does get 250 on attack and defense on super, which that takes a massive hike up. His defense might not be the highest, that's where the damage reduction kind of plays in. I'm really intrigued to see what kind of damage he's going to be taking without the extra 20% damage reduction he gets from being hit twice and kind of relying on just the base 20% and defense he has once he supers. But then I'm even more intrigued to see what kind of defense he's going to be sitting at along with having his full damage reduction as well, and how he's going to be tanking some of the hardest enemies in the game as well. I think from some of them, super attack wise, it's not going to be like next to nothing, but I don't think he's going to get one shot, or at least maybe not until the 9th anniversary content, which of course Global doesn't have yet, but we'll have to see. But when HP is 70% or more, all allies gain key plus 2, attack and defense plus 50%, which that just flat out right is crazy good, which is why I'm still incredibly surprised about him doing so much damage. We still don't have big bad bosses yet. I'm also missing more than meets the eye, which means we're missing attack and defense plus 10%. But that's fine. We'll get that with, I think, once Tech Exchange Buu goes into Super Buu as well. So we'll get those transformations hopefully as quick as possible. He's stunned again, still doing 13.4 like that. It's crazy. Like, it's actually crazy. I can't lie, if you have dupes in him, or maybe you're picking up some dupes and you're thinking about where to put them, definitely additional and probably like a little bit in dodge, because naturally he needs to be hit, but where else are you going to get? Like, he just doesn't need crit. I mean, you could give him a little bit to increase the dodge chance, but mainly just additional, just to throw out like an extra 13 mil attack stat. All that damage is just kind of crazy. He then gets an additional key plus 1, attack and defense plus 10% for super class allies, an additional key plus 2 and attack and defense plus 20% for extreme class allies. So if you're running him on the new Majin Buu team, or the new Majin Buu Saga 200% lead with Fat Buu, all of those units like Fat Buu, EZA LR Buuhan, EZA Transforming Strength Boo, LR AGL Super Boo, EZA Tech Exchange Boo, even the new Evil Boo, who I know you have to rely on dodge, but you can actually do some good damage. All of those kind of units, they're going to be getting a total of Ki plus 4, attack and defense plus 70%. This team was already ridiculously good with the amount of utility he has and the amount of damage it can do, the defense it can do, the amount of health you can heal back, Boo's revival, all those kind of things. And now you have a big support unit on top of that that will give them Ki plus 4, attack and defense plus 70%. Which is kind of wild to me. And don't forget, I know we've been crying out for one for years, but eventually there'll be an LR Kid Boo as well that will benefit from this guy. Like, he's just an amazing slot 3 unit that can just provide insane support, solid defense, but also very good damage, which again I wasn't expecting at all. But even then, if you run a Margin Boo Saga team with like a mix, which is going to be the most common one, with super and extreme units like EZA Tech Ultimate Gohan, EZA Strength LR Vegito, the new LR Ultimate Gohan, EZA Gotenks, they're still going to be getting Ki plus what? Ki plus 2, no, Ki plus 3 and attack and defense plus 60%. Which is still really good, while he's also supporting the extreme units with the Ki plus 4, attack and defense plus 70, as long as your HP is 70% or more, which again, with all the Boo units and how much they heal, including Kid Boo himself, who heals 10% HP at the end of every turn, as long as he's hit twice, which naturally will happen in difficult content, you're healing all that back. So it's not too often that you're going to be under 70% HP and not being able to utilize that full support. So the Boo units, they are benefiting a lot by this, but also so is superclass units. And that Margin Boo Saga team running a mix is so strong, because not only are they just very good units, but that support is just so hefty. But now we have Big Bad Bosses active. I mean, we have also lost Brutal Beatdown. I mean, if we actually do get it back, if we put him there. So we do actually get up to 436k attack and then 219k defense with Brutal Beatdown and also Big Bad Bosses. If we lose Brutal Beatdown, we go down a little bit in terms of attack, but our defense is up to 205k along with his damage reduction, which we do need to be hit twice. I feel like we haven't actually been hit yet. I mean, 37k with, I don't think that's full damage reduction, but he also hasn't super attacked yet. I mean, now he definitely has all of his damage reduction and he's supered and he's taking normals here, which is a good start. But we're going to have to test him against, you know, the final stage of Margin Boo Saga Red Zone eventually, but also Fusions of Masu. Which I'm not gonna lie, the AoEs may be a little bit techie, but one thing he definitely has against Fusions of Masu is type advantage. And also, since the AoEs are coming, it means you can build his damage reduction up early, while also he has type advantage, which is good. So that's actually going to help him out. We'll see how he does against the final stage eventually when we do get it as well. But so far, I'm really liking what I'm seeing. Of course, though, that support does kind of stream off a little bit once you go literally 1% lower on the HP condition. So when your HP is 69% or less, all allies will get Ki plus 1 and attack and defense plus 30% rather than Ki plus 2 and attack and defense plus 50. Superclass allies will gain an additional Ki plus 1, no attack and defense buff, and extreme class allies will get Ki plus 1 and attack and defense plus 20%. Which, to be fair, even if you do drop below that, which I said is quite unlikely, or you have to be quite unfortunate or just not have a lot of the healing units on one team, you're still getting Ki plus 2 and attack and defense plus 50% for extreme class allies, which I know that's what he gets as a base if your HP is 70% or more, but that's still strong. Like, that's still very strong. Again, for a unit that has damage reduction and doing 13 over, just over 13 mil on a super, is still very strong. I just want to put that out there. Also, he then gets an additional chance of forming a crit quit plus 20% up to 40% and damage reduction plus 20% up to 40% as well every time the character receives attack 2 times in battle, which it'd be nice if you just kind of got that and it stayed, but I get why. And again, there's another reason why I wish that my choices in the Duke Pass system were a little bit different back in the day, because he really doesn't need the extra crit chance, but I mean, here we are. you know, can't predict the future, and I'm too stubborn to spend the stone, especially with the anniversary right around the corner. So we're just gonna have to firm it. But I think the one major flaw that is going to catch him, especially in the most difficult content in the game, or AoEs, unlike Zamasu where he'll have type advantage, is if there are AoEs, if, you know, I mean, we've seen the type of damage that can come in the game now, is that initial attack, that initial first attack before he gets hit. So, well, actually, no, the initial 2 attacks before he triggers the extra 20% damage reduction. Those initial attacks will probably hurt him a little bit. I don't think it's going to be a massive risk, especially with his healing at the end of turn. Like, you can heal a little bit of that back, but also the healing with a lot of the other Boo units. I feel like he'll take a little bit of damage, but I feel like because of all the healing, and then eventually when he gets the extra damage reduction, I feel like it won't be too bad. But that is kind of one of his major flaws. That is something that could kind of catch him a little bit. But as I said, I think with all the healing, including his own healing, I don't think it'll be too bad in the long run, because you'll just end up healing a lot of it back on top of same type key spheres. But that's something we would have to test in difficult content eventually to actually really see how much of a detriment that really is. But I don't think it'll be too bad. Of course, if he ends up getting super attacks before you've got the extra 20% damage reduction for taking 2 attacks, then yeah, he'll probably take a ton of damage. Maybe even at some point against, you know, the more difficult enemies, you probably get one shot, and that's just really unfortunate. And that's where using items are going to come in. Of course, for those of you who do know item runs, don't like using items on some of the new EZAs, new units to really see how good they are, then yeah, that's probably going to be a major flaw for this Super EZA Fizz Kid Boo. But I think as long as you got an item to help him out, he may still take a little bit, but I don't think he would get one shot. I don't think he would die, anything like that. But that is going to be his one major flaw, is that initial 2 attacks he has to take before he gets the extra 20% damage reduction. And if one of those is a super, he is open to a bit of damage. He is very much open to a bit of damage. But sorry about that. No idea what I was saying. It's literally like hours later. But all in all, this Super EZA was very well done. Good damage, amazing support, works well with so many good units. Shame that I couldn't get him to level 10 links by the time his Super EZA dropped, but it is what it is. But really good EZA. I said the only flaw that is going to come his way is like the top most difficult enemies in the way. In the game, sorry. Those initial 2 hits he needs for the extra damage reduction, they could be an issue, but I'm really intrigued to see what kind of damage he's taking once he's supered, got his full damage reduction, and kind of what he's taken on those normals without his full damage reduction pre-super, and seeing if it is like that much of an issue. But that is his kind of only major flaw. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments though. I'll see you next video, guys. Take care, have a great rest of your day, and post.